the true fucking hurt is what happens to the people who love me, who are continually reading this, right? The people have believed in me. In the lowest point of like humanity, like that I saw, of betrayal and downright greed, and this of people that I've done so much for.
What's up, guys? Hey, how we doing? So I did my interview with Lucas Mirtl, super agent. And yes, he is still a super agent, but he has not been given due process. But I told you guys I wasn't going to tell you. I was going to let him use his words. This is probably the most powerful, and by far, this is my favorite interview ever. Lucas bared his soul and told everything. We addressed all of it. So just take a look here and thank my sponsors. You guys know Nano-tech, and we're getting out all the samples to everybody who has sent me their address. Like I said, send it to chriscookseymedia@gmail.com, and please do it in a little concise section so I can copy and paste it, because I'm getting a ton of them and we're getting them all out as fast as we can. But head over to Nano-tech, use code Cooksey if you don't want to wait for the free sample or you know it works, and get yourself some Nano. The Coach Rob Podcast Network, man, he's got some good stuff over there. He's got the What's Next podcast with people who are done with their racing career. He's got the Amateur Show. He's got the Vet Racer Show, Coach Rob, and add that to all his health stuff. Click the link below and it'll take you right to his channel. Ride Strapped, best goggles, glasses, and a longtime supporter of mine. Go get a Red Pill shirt there, so hit up ridestrap.com. Precision Transport, the best shipping company in the business. They believe in customer service and reasonable pricing. And also Motobilia. Yes, Motobilia is a motocross memorabilia company. The memorabilia they have is authentic, and they prove it's authentic. And it's hard to get the authentic stuff at Motobilia. They'll make sure you get it. And then tonight, right after the Glendale Supercross, I am doing a live show and giving away the Alias gear, the pant, jersey, and glove that are being donated from January, and also some Nano-tech. So we'll do that live tonight. And without further ado, here is Super Agent Lucas Mirtl.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
I've got Lucas Mirtl. So Mirtl, we haven't talked in a little while. I don't know what you've been up to. What have you been doing, dude?
Fighting for my life. Middle of a major crisis, Chris. Last time you talked about me, you're nailing me on the Lawrence Deegan Ozex.
Yes. And what's so funny about this situation is, you know, that you're not my source, but everybody thinks, oh, you're just, because I have come out very publicly in the sense of telling people that this whole situation with you didn't pass the sniff test, and everybody's like, oh, you're just backing him because he gives you information. I think you can confirm that's probably not true, right?
No, you smashed me on a few topics. But you've always reached out and tried to get, ask if there was a question to be asked. But no, you smashed me a few times.
Yeah. And like I said, as far as you being my source, that's never true. But I did reach, and I'll tell people, I reach out to you when I already have the story. People don't think I verify shit. What I do is I check with you and I say, Mertz, does this line up? And you're always straight with me. So listen, on all our dealings, as mad as you've been at me, and you've been mad after that Club MX deal, I think you wanted to strangle me. And then after the, Deegan.
I wanted to strangle the whole situation on that one. So.
Yeah, but you know what I always respect about you is, I feel like with you and I, you've listen. Neither of us are perfect people, but you've always called me out, and I've called you out, but yet we still are able to find a common ground. And I think that's what the world needs more of these days. And that's why the situation with you has just been so disheartening for me, the way that they've done you, my man.
Yeah, like vice versa, mate. I've gone on record before saying the people at home would be very, very surprised how little stuff is researched or investigated or confirmed. Like a lot of journalists don't even reach out to me and run stories, and they've got no interest in the full story, or they're just looking for division. And you've always been one. You've asked me some dumb questions, but some ridiculous stories that come out, but you still ask, right, to confirm it, right?
Well, and for the record, I say this is a ridiculous story, right?
You do say that, but like I read it and I'll be like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm not replying to this. I'm not replying to it. But then I'm like, my biggest complaint is that no one reaches out. And then I'm like, well, then I'm two-faced. I text you back here.
No, and that's the thing is I check out everything I hear. And yes, I hear some ridiculous stuff that just makes me laugh, but at the same time, with the crazy stuff that I've seen in this sport, Mertz, sometimes I go, well, I know it sounds ridiculous, but man, from what I've seen, I got to at least check it out, right?
Yeah, and I don't watch anything online. Like I get sent exhibits when it's mentioned me or whatnot. I don't watch every one of your shows. I don't watch anyone's motocross pods or anything. I don't consume motocross media due to the nature of my job. I've got to do what I have to do. That's without outside influence or public opinion. And in my job, if you're focusing on public opinion or media, you're not doing your job. Well, I couldn't do my job the correct way or be non-biased or not be moved one way or another due to public opinion.
So while we're on the topic of media, so this dropped by Lewis Phillips on Vital last Thursday. When he got the information, did he check with you to make sure this is legit information, or what happened there?
Yeah, Lewis Phillips, no one in the media checked right at that point, or from Vital, I guess you could say. But I didn't know it was happening at all myself. I was speaking to my assistant, Jacob, the night before, texted him when I woke up in the morning. I spoke to numerous people the day before. It was just a normal every day. It was just starting my day, getting going. And then it hit all in succession. And the total and utter blindside, it would appear to you guys, like people reading this, it was the same to me. It was the worst experience of my life.
Wow. So now you said you were talking to Jacob. Jacob Hayes was your assistant that you brought into this sport, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I shouldn't say the sport, but you brought him into the agency world and took him under your wing. And now you're talking to him late that night. He had to have known this is on the horizon. That's strange. And that's something also that doesn't sit right with me. Why the hell wouldn't he give you some sort of a tip off? It bothers me, man. It really does.
At the moment, like, none of it makes sense. Now you kind of dig in, and I live in this situation. Now it's consumed. I'm fighting for my name, my legacy, and whatnot. So now I'm way clearer than I was at that morning, right? And the night before, I mean, Jacob's my best friend. He was my closest friend in this world, right? Like, I was going to actually ask him to be godfather of my child coming up. I was very proud of how he was doing and whatnot. So again, never in a million years did I see him taking a benefit or choosing a side in anything other than doing what's right or wrong, not ever crossing any line, but never betraying me. And I'm unapologetic on the situation or how I feel on that side of things.
Wow, that's tough.
That morning when that dropped, him and another agent, a Wasserman, were on phone calls with my clients, just burying me.
Wow. And so let me just put this to perspective for the people watching. So Lucas, you came from humble beginnings. Like, you worked your butt off. You were a Krusty's manager, and you started by the guys were like sleeping in and hungover, and you'd take their calls and set up their gigs, and you turned this into becoming the most powerful, the most successful sports agent in our sport. Like, it's crazy to me that in one fell swoop they could demolish you.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real, to be honest, and I don't think of myself in any of the compliments you give or accolades there, right? I would do, and I've done what I believe in my career. It's just been the right thing for the riders and whatnot. There's nothing really proprietary there. I just fought, stood up for what I believed in, stood up for the athletes, and made sure at all times I took advantage of every opportunity to do my job better, right? So it's nice to hear those things, but I also am a mechanic, motorcycle mechanic from Kalgoorlie, Western Australia. Right? I've just climbed the ranks. When I should have gave up, I doubled down. When I should have gave up another time, I doubled down. And that's just like what anyone else, I believe, would do right in the situation. I was fortunate, but I was too dumb to quit. But to be where I am today, it's all for nothing, right? It feels it's all been taken away. And all I've got to do is fight for my name. It's kind of like sit here this week as I undertake all the legal proceedings, getting my head around the absolute, getting past the hit of it, being absolutely ambushed, and then getting past the betrayal and the personal side, getting out of my fucking feelings on the thing, right? And then saying, what are we going to do here? Right? Like, what are the facts of the case? And I'm trying to actually understand the facts of the case, right? It's been all speculation. And to a degree, it's still very speculative to me and my legal team, because none of this has made any sense or followed any sort of protocol of any sort of ethics or this statute that's given to anyone else. So in the midst of all that, has been challenging at the best.
Well, let me lay this out for you, Mirtl, and this is my take on the situation. Is they see somebody like you, and you can say everybody would do what you did, but that's not true. You are a special human being who stands for what he believes, and that's the thing is why I'm like, it doesn't sit right with me, because every single time, even when you're mad at me, you shoot me straight, and I'm like, I just don't see this happening. And so the way I have seen a lot of scumbags in this sport, that the media, and let's be real, the media is one group. It's the MX Sports Group with Racer X, and everybody else is kind of under their umbrella. Like, I don't think, and that's why they hate me so bad, is because I refuse to follow their narratives. I refuse to falter to whatever they're trying to do. And it's just a weird situation. I've never seen anyone publicly blasted by these media outlets without looking at it. I mean, think about like Rich Taylor sued LACR. He sued LACR, essentially put them out of business. This guy owns a goggle company who makes money off of dirt bike racers. These guys couldn't find court documents, allegedly, to point this out. The list goes on. We had Forrest Butler robbing riders blind. And so for them to go after you, it seems to me like there's an agenda. And we'll get into exactly what they're accusing you of in a second. But I just want to point out the situation before we get into that.
Yeah, the stuff you said, I can't comment on, or like I just can't. I've nothing across it. I'm not even qualified, and there are some good people in the industry, right? Like I haven't had anything against any sort of run-ins with Davey. Oh, one we had back in the day, but I can't comment on any of that. That's again, I haven't dug in. I'm just not qualified for it. So, but there is a lot of politics involved in the sport. There is a lot of politics, how this was handled. I mean, God, I can't stress enough. I found out the same time everyone else did on the last Thursday, not the Thursday before. Yesterday, I found out via text. I think you text me, and then that it's online.
Here, let me lay this out for the people. So yesterday morning, I wake up and I get the Racer X link sent to me. I look at it and I'm like, and I've been talking to you, so I know kind of your side of the situation. And I see this, And I'm not going to lie, they did a really good job of painting it pretty bad. And we're going to go through it. But I was like, what is this, Mirtl? And you're like, what are you talking about? I had to send you the link. And I could hear your authentic reaction when you're like, what? Like, it seems like this. There's got to be some weird motivation. When on earth did they send legal documents to the media outlets before they send them to the actual defendant?
Like, legit. I still haven't been served.
So you still haven't got those legal documents?
No, low key. I'm hoping it happens. Like while I'm talking to you on this, there's nothing. Like this is where it sits, and we'll get into as much as I can talk about. Right on it. Like I'm not shying away at this fucking topic. I'm not going away. The reality is, in every situation like this, if from my agency side, an investigation is taking place, Lucas Mirtl's, if whatever, name the person who would be removed, he's on administrative leave or he's been removed for his job, an investigation is getting taken place, everyone in this country is due the justice process that's offered to you, whatever that verbiage is, and we look forward to an outcome and a decision being made, and by the justice system or independent inquiry or whatever it would be. No, I got fucking nailed straight online, allegations, right? Last week it was that the FBI and criminal, investigation. So I look like I'm fucking getting nailed, like well and truly, which again makes no sense. Then yesterday we've got a lawsuit getting filed. Fine, you can file a lawsuit against everyone. Sure, it doesn't look good, but it's not designed to. It's up to me to defend. They're not designed to like go, hey, here's our big hole in the case, or here's the omission, here's this, right? If that was the total and utter truth, what was filed, I must be the biggest idiot in the world who's going out there and saying, oh, I'm innocent, because what that says, that's not paint a picture. So everyone who's writing shitty comments or whatnot, I'm with you. I would do the same. I would think the exact fucking same, right? But wait for a second. Look at how this has been released. I'm not meant to be believed due to how this has been released. I'm not offered due process how this has been released, right? Everyone's opinion is already made up. I have a mountain to climb. And not jamming it down people's throat, but I'm not shying away. And
Lucas, that's what's so difficult about it is you don't have a job that doesn't rely on your, professional image, and they have attacked the image before they even went legally, and that's messed up. But yeah. And I want to get into some of these accusations because we've talked and you have explanations for all of it. Like it's normal stuff in the day of an agent.
Full clarity. I'll explain it the best I can, right? Chris, my attorney and legal team are mortified of me. Everyone in the world says, be quiet, shut your fucking mouth. Everyone texts me about Instagram posts and whatnot. I tell you, and I tell everyone, that's what fucking guilty people do, right? And I'm not doing it. So there is obviously impending litigation, but I'll also clarify that I haven't received that doc yet. It could be filed, but I'm not going to get served it. I'm going to assume that it should be real, right? But me and my attorney have not received this filing. Right. So again, we've talked earlier, it hasn't matched any sort of protocol or normality of a situation like this. So just wanted clarification on that we've taken the assumption that this thing's absolutely real and I will get served it and I will get a chance to go to court to defend it if they still want to go to court.
Let me just point something out that's a little bit suspicious about this situation. And people always call me conspiracy theory, blah, blah, blah. I'm just not on their stupid narrative. You know me, Mirtl. I call you out. I call people out. I call what I see. And what I saw was Racer X post something legally that hasn't even been served to you. And I know that Mathis wasn't well, I don't know that for a fact, but I'm pretty darn sure because he was at the Western Power sales meeting on Thursday. You really think he's doing a bunch of deep dives to find that legal document? And that's who they claim found it.
No, I heard bullshit. That I heard like part that like Michael Lindsay said he had it the night before, or he had it Thursday night. Because all these people are talking, right? There's so much chatter on this thing. Still, me and my attorney have to go to Racer X now to see what's going on in my case. Last week was Vital. This week it's Racer X. So next week, I don't know. Cooksey, they may call you.
They won't call me. I'm the only one they won't call. And I've done this, and the way they've attacked me, and I've been attacked by these media outlets. They all work together. I'm telling you, we have a CNN style. Davey Coombs is pretty good at the way he built this thing, and that's me, not you saying that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the reason this is my life is on my life's work. My legacy is on the line here, and I don't want to be taken like, oh, he's crying about the way it's being served and whatnot. No, I think it's very, very critical, right? And especially with the allegation and now the filing, right? I think the facts, to follow the facts of this right now is very critical to go, what is actually happening? Because without that, even I would be lost in my legal team, right? So I think it's very critical, and as you establish different motives, the motive, which I'll allude to but won't get into, right? But that's all going to come out, right? And it's shocking for sure. Like there is everything of a Hollywood movie kind of tied to this, and I'm actually, for me, that it's getting played out in the public. It's traumatizing. It's damaging to people who love me. It's to my people who believed in me. Like, that's truly fucking heartbreaking. It's bullshit, and I hate it. I'm never going to forgive on how this has been done. But it's so crazy that if I was telling this when this is all said and done, when it's told, if I was telling this without that public with the backstory, they'd be like, he's lost it.
Seriously. Well, and with my own personal situation, with the way this thing's gone down, if I told people the things that are going to happen to me in the next 4 years because I'm just talking on my media platforms, they'd say, that's crazy. Nobody would do that. But it actually happens, Mirtl. But hey, let's get into some of the allegations against you and just kind of share. So, because like I said, these are things that just, I don't know. So there's one account that's in question, at least that I know of, I believe it's a Wells Fargo account tied to the Jet Lawrence experiment. But just tell me about that account. What is this account?
It's an LLC that was used, right? That was sitting there. It's an LLC, just Jets and Donuts LLC. It was in the infant stages of the donut situation, and it was just sitting there. No one wanted liability. My agency didn't want liability on 2 semis on the road with custom-made sea containers for a VIP. The Lawrences didn't want liability on it, so they wanted it all to kind of live on an LLC, right? Smart people, me, I'm just a sports agent, right? I'm just going on what was discussed. But I think you go back. I bought essentially me, Wasserman, at the time, and I think you got to remember, I'm Wasserman, right? I've run my own P&L at Wasserman. It's in my employment agreement, right? I run as my own business within the company, right?
Okay, hold on. Let me clarify. So I think I understand. I think people understand. I don't mean to interrupt you. So this account that we're talking about, this Wells Fargo account, is not the Lawrence's account. It's not your personal. It's not your personal account. This is a Wasserman business account.
Essentially, it would be And again, without any expertise or knowledge, right, my attorneys will clarify what that in the process, what that account is, and I'm not going to label it. I'm sorry for the legalese, but I've got to be careful.
No, we don't need details. I understand you got a court battle, but I'm just trying to wrap my. Go ahead.
It's an account that they used for the finance of it that wasn't attached to anyone but me. My social was on it. I was the signatory on it, and I was the person that if someone was doing a transfer, either the accountants who had full access of it, the finance manager attached to the Lawrences and the whole thing, he was doing all the invoicing from it. They all had the password from it. I was just the one to set it up, but it was not the Lawrences account, right? And I'll go into the next part. The VIP experience was my idea. I set it up with Feld. It was about selling jerseys, just giving people the ability to interact with the athletes some more, right? And possibly have a lifetime experience, just what they do in other sports, right? Like I just think we were missing that. I think it was interpreted really poorly by our public, right? Like during it, and thing was the worst miserable idea of all time, and it continues to punish me, to be quite honest. But when I pitched that, and as a rule of thumb as an agent, never use your athlete's money. Funny enough in the situation, but so I took the money from Wasserman. I have the Wasserman's money. We have investment money, we seed money, we support athletes, right? I am my own P&L within Wasserman. I have to settle every year what I spend versus what I bring in, and there's a split and whatnot. People who know sports agencies or people who kind of across it will realize, right, you run as your own business. Well, at my level, I run as my own business, right? And that's T&E. It's what I pay my employees, right? They all come underneath me. What I pay myself, right? And it bounces. And it moves up and down all year, right? If you looked at my P&L sheet, it's like I'm always notorious at Wasserman, the most in travel and expenses, right? Notorious, right? But I also believe that if I'm making money of an athlete and I can be there, I always will be. To be clear, I paid for the Lawrence, the semis and the Lawrence experience. No one wanted liability on it. This was this account. Every cent from the Lawrence experience was, until those trucks were paid off, was Wasserman's money in my P&L, right? In my P&L.
Let me just, before you, I'm just trying to keep it because it's kind of hard to follow. So I'm just trying to, I like to dumb it down because I'm not the smartest guy in the world. So I like to repeat it so you understand that I understand. So what this is essentially Wasserman. So you're an employee of Wasserman, or are you a 1099?
I wish I was a 1099. No, employee.
Okay, so you're an employee and you have an account that is Wasserman's that you're responsible for that goes against your salary. Is that right?
Yeah, you've got like a...
I'm just giving you like a 10,000 foot view.
P&L sheet, right? Like expenses, income, revenue, right? Salaries. And there's a percentage split, right? And how you move that throughout the year, you just got to balance it. And then if you're up, good for you. If you're down, you've got to make up the difference, right?
So you pay that out of your salary if it's
everything,
low.
Everything. Yeah, oh yeah. If I was
you're personally responsible for the account.
Straight up, I'm responsible. If I had $1 million unexpected expense, I better have a way or be able to attach it to somewhere and say, but it's going to make this money here. If not, per my agreement, per the revenue, I would owe that money back, right? And essentially, I would be working next year with no salary or the next year, right? So you're accountable, right? The reason at this level of management, and I had a huge book of business. It was a whale, right? With 200 to 250 contracts, right? Individual contracts, revenue, a lot of deal flow, right? So you've got positives, you've got negatives, right? And anyone we front a lot of money to a lot of athletes, right? At any time, right? It's the reason you're with a big agency. So a lot of time, revenue commission, you're putting it here, you're putting it there to grow others, knowing that it will come back in, right? We invest. I think what people don't understand, you're not really an agent, you're in the talent development business, right? You're constantly seeding, reinvesting in, right? And that's probably why other agents, haven't had the success I have. I've invested into a lot of athletes. I've lost a lot of personal money investing in, right? So they all don't work, but I have more money. I put my money where my mouth is a lot in this game. Long-winded answer.
Okay, yeah. No, but so, and I'm trying to just sum it up for people because I'm dumb and I'm having a hard time understanding quite all that. But let me just break this. No. I just do this to listen. I'm the master of simplifying. So essentially, you have an account, and in the accounts that they give agents, you're allowed to go. So let's say I'm Chris Cooksey. I work for Wasserman. I spot a talented kid, but he's broke. I can, out of my Wasserman account, go set him up with what he needs. And then as he becomes a star, I'm also responsible when that money comes in to pay back the money that I spent.
Yeah, anything you put out, right? If it was personal or through Wasserman, or if you had in this situation, there was another account with Wasserman money, everything's got to even out. Everything, right? The dollar out's got to have a dollar back in, or you're going to say, no, we'll get it at this time, right? Right? Within reason, right? Like there's limits to what you would do, but you're responsible for the P&L. You're responsible for the loss. You fuck up 200K, I'm up for it, right? Wasserman would never lose. Wasserman doesn't in a sports agency, they don't lose. That's why you're there, they don't lose. If I wanted to leave Wasserman, they don't lose. Athletes are tied to it. So if I'm up, okay, great. If I'm down, it's on me.
So how often do you have an accountant that probably checks these accounts like once a month, right? And they do the P&L and they let you know, hey, Lucas, you're up, you're down. Do they let you know where you're at? And how often did that happen?
No, on this one, there was no sort of protocol on this because it was a super unique situation, right? Because everything else goes to Wasserman directly. Right. Let's not get too much in the weeds on that. Every other payment goes to them directly because there was a liability factor. No one wanted to touch this, and I'm no finance bro or expert, right? So we had a go with accounting, finance, but degrees handling that account across. He was coordinating with the accountants. And he's a mentor to me, right? His name will get mentioned, obviously, in the suit.
You don't need to mention names, just as long as you say the guy. We're just trying to give people the idea of what happened.
He was the one managing the situation, right? Kind of a mentor to me, but managing that side of it and handling the invoicing, getting the money back in. Yeah, just handling and dealing with the accountant, going over the overview. I think they, don't quote me on this, but they attach QuickBooks to the account. And the accountant could oversee it. So they was keeping track of it. I don't do invoicing. I don't do that side of the business. I'm busy representing and looking at opportunities and creating revenue.
So you've got full access to this account, and then I'll be honest with you. If you were going to launder money, I don't think I'd put in the notes childcare, and they're saying you put childcare in there. Why on earth? That doesn't make sense either. If you're going to launder money, you're not going to name it childcare and plan on paying it back. Can you explain how that works? Or you're allowed to do specific stuff?
On this situation, right? It's the reference point. I went through a traumatic divorce, addiction, and violence, and I had to file for divorce.
Let me just clarify, not your addiction.
No, on the other side. So there was a forced situation that had to be to guarantee the safety of actually myself and the children. Right, we were held up in a hotel for a week, and I think everyone will remember last year I had Maverick at every race with me. From there, in divorce, your assets get frozen. Right, the moment you file, it was frozen. What they're alleging is theft, and that I stole and I embezzled money. In that process, I've incurred major fees, unforecasted stuff that comes in revenue. I have to pay for someone else's attorneys. I had to, right? When you file for divorce, I can't take another loan out. If I bring in more revenue, I have to revenue or income, I have to report it, right? And overall, I was in a fucking traumatic situation. The people I trusted said, hey, use Wasserman's money, right? Use this loan against this, right? And then you repay it back, right? You can repay it back because there is so much revenue income owed on my employment agreement and whatnot. In hindsight, it's a failure of judgment, but the alleged what's going on, and I'm probably saying way too much that any of my attorney would ever feel comfortable, but it's the fucking truth, right? And I'm not going to shy away with it, right? It was suggested by someone I trust and love, like a brother, who was overseeing this account and overseeing this. And it's not Lawrence money. I'm going to be very fucking clear. It's nothing to do with them at this point. It's not their account. It's not stolen. It was all detailed, right? That it was going to be a loan, and with the income and on my employment agreement, it was established when we'd clear that up, fix it up as a loan, and get me through it, right? Boy, do I wish I didn't open myself up for this. But at the same time, I'm doing this because everyone's situated it with this, and we're across this. We're all the closest people to me. It was no secret. It wasn't this big underlying situation, right? It was documented by the people on the account. It was getting tallied, and it was going to be reconciled, right? No issue, no buts, right? Again, the people closest to me, that's thanks, right? Like it's thanks guys. Like, we've all got each other's back. I've made a lot of people millions of dollars. No issue that there's millions and millions of dollars. I just did the biggest deal in the history of the sport that should come out. Hasn't been released yet. I have $3 million attached just to that deal, plus my employment agreement. No worries. No worries, right? And it's Wasserman money. I am, and
okay. Let me ask you.
I am Wasserman.
Let me ask you about that. So it's strange to me and everyone else that it's the Lawrence experiment, but it's Wasserman's money. How do the Lawrences get paid out from the VIP experience? Does the money come in?
Once they were to repay the semis, right? The $700,000 loan, whatever that was. Until then, they would own. After that, they'd own the trucks, and then they would own the revenue. And if it failed, right? And I'm not going to get into the different revenue streams. That's confidential. If it failed, and this is what I remember. No one's talking about, God, Mirtl was a good guy, loaning $700K, right? We've all forgotten about that, right? No one Mirtl, I was up for the $700K loss, personally, per my employment agreement. So if this fails, so what's going to be alleged here is I stole from myself, where even if I stole that money, right, and it was theft, I'm ripping myself off on my employment agreement. So I'm robbing Pete to pay Paul. I'm still responsible for that money. Not Jet, not Hunter, right? I'm responsible on that P&L, because no one's ever going to punish the clients like that. It would be me, financially. It's coming out of your salary, big guy, right? So we're all one. These people, I was at their house for Christmas, and with Maverick, this is all family, right? This is not theft. There was no sleight of hand. There was no bunk invoices, right? Everything was up front and on the table.
And,
right?
and let me reiterate to the viewers. This is the Lawrence family that you're at their house for Christmas. They understand, and you've been close. They've called you family. They understand, and they see what is happening with you personally, and they know you're having a hard time. So they're well aware of what's going on, correct?
Yeah, I think everyone's close, and
I just want to make it clear that they knew you were struggling.
Story.
I just want to make
it a sob story.
I know, but Lucas, I just want to make sure people know they also knew this agent who helped them so much all the way through their process to get here and get them the biggest deal ever. Had some bad things happen. And you find out who your true friends are when you have bad things happen. And I just want people to know that the Lawrences were aware of this. Because it matters, dude. It really matters.
I think the whole industry was aware that why has Lucas got Maverick at every race?
They weren't though. And that's the thing.
My close friends, my friends were right. Yeah. That's not no. It's not normal at the time to be slugging a 1-year-old all over the country to different events, right?
Yeah.
And by myself, right? That was to make sure he was safe. To be quite honest, I was struggling personally at that time. 1 minute life is one way, and then in a flash of an eye, my life was this way. Plus, I now have a 1-year-old, right? I have no idea. I actually had no idea what to do with a child until you're actually just essentially got one. So there was a lot of, situations, custody, right? Protective orders and whatnot. So I was very much tied up in this legal proceedings on that side of things with my family, and that was my own situation. But in that time, I really checked back on what I could handle and what I focused on, and there was a big deal that I needed to focus on and close. And at that point, the day-to-day, I was super behind. Not behind. Jacob was handling all the day-to-day work, and then I was literally moving as I could within my situation, right? Which would go there. But at the time, unequivocally, there was no theft. To land on theft on this thing, I would have to be the stupidest, dumbest criminal or thief, I guess, the world has ever seen, right? It's out front and it's documented and it's all there. Everyone has the bank accounts. To land on theft, you could say foolish, you could say negligent, you could say all these other things, but the accusation and the way it was portrayed was sleight of hand, thief. I positioned something that it wasn't, and that's all going to come out. And I'm happily talking about it. It was taken. If you want to make it theft, there's a reason no one ever talked to me and said, "Hey, Mirtl, what's this?" Or, "Hey, how is this going on? How are you going to reconcile this?" Oh, no. But, it's up to me to reconcile everything, right? I had a guy with a business degree, MBA, accounts, finance, log into the account. Numerous conversations on what's coming up, how reconcile it. We did a bookkeeping call on the experience. We also did bookkeeping on what's cleared up, what's an expense and what wasn't. What's a Wasserman expense, what's that, right? I have to clear it up. So late to end of third quarter last year, we had a probably late, like October, November, we had a call to, okay, what's this, an accounting call, right? Oh, the accountant wanted to know exactly what this was. Oh, that's me. This, and this, without getting into more of the details. Again, nothing where, hey, Mertz, fuck, let's get this fixed up.
But you told him those were your personal charges.
Oh yeah. It's fucking on the statement. There's no way to steal money digitally, right? There's no. Everything has a signature. Like to land on theft, I'd have to be the biggest moron in the history. And I think my job and my history in my job and the success I have says I know how to make a deal. I understand how the world works. This is the biggest deal. So I traded this for essentially $6 million in, as of right now, right? The true theft is what's taken off me in the future, not fucking what I did.
So let me ask about this account. Now, they're saying you didn't have their authorization. If it's a Wasserman account, why do the Lawrences think that you needed authorization to access it? That's also confusing.
I don't know who's talking to them. I don't know who's giving them information.
So they're never, like, with this account, there was never any time where the Lawrences had to authorize purchases.
No, they're right. This whole experience until it became their I'm the one on the hook. Yeah, they did the meet and greets and whatnot, right? I had to prove the concept. I risked the money. And it was Wasserman money. I was Wasserman, right? I was Wasserman at this point. Now I'm not. I was Wasserman. It was it. And essentially the account, just for clarity, isn't a Wasserman account. It's just a separate LLC. No one wanted that. No one wanted the liability. No one wanted these. I think I recognize no one wanted these custom-made sea containers rolling down the freeway with their name on it.
And then and now they have, a series of fees that they detailed that were misappropriated. I'm assuming that is all lumped in with when you're frozen and you were just using it, like they claimed like 18,000 lawyer fees, some Venmo transactions.
Without having the account, yeah, like I don't feel anything was mislabeled, misrepresented. So everything on that needed to be reconciled and was on the way to be reconciled. If there was an issue, right, and anyone at any point would have said, all right, this is Mirtl, clean that up now, get that sorted, I'd have it situated in X amount of time. But these are the closest people in the world to me. These are the people I'm going through at that point, the darkest time of my life, right? It just personally.
I'm surprised that the guy who reconciles the account at some point didn't say, Mirtl, what do you think we're your fucking bank? Get back to your own accounts.
Exactly, right? Like, and this is the relationship I had, right? There's no sleight of hand. There's nothing there. Yeah, I've said a lot right now, right? That I guarantee you, right, they're going to hold me, but for the sake and clarity of it, right?
Mirtl, if it's the truth,
I have to tell it how it is, right? Like there's no ifs or buts. You're going to hear the same thing when it goes to trial, right? But or I'm being sued for theft, misappropriation, right? Misappropriation and theft. Did you ask for it back? No one ever came and said, like, right? I'm negligent. If deemed negligent for trusting the people closest to me, right? And with the ability to pay back with an owed amount of millions and millions of dollars, and the ability to pay back anything, if need be, I'd have to go to court and file for a motion to go take a loan out or whatnot, right? Or I could do anything. I have a history of getting money, and Wasserman would give me any upfront, advance me any money I could ever need. They would. That's why you was a big agency, right? But at the time, this was suggested. I took it, and then they took it. They took it to fucking nail me across the head, right? And I've heard everything they're saying to former clients and what they're saying, what they're putting out, right? What they're putting out, they're taking that side of things and then they're putting it out there, right? So let's just say, let's look at the situation and go, okay, that was wrong. And I thought any sort of due process to reconcile it, to fix it, be made aware that this is a possible issue. This was stupid. You've trusted the wrong person. You're an idiot. No. We took this, and I think we should be very clued up on this. But why would they do that to you, Mert? Your family, there's more to it, right? That will get explained at another time. That will.
Well, and I know and I will tell people, I know a little bit of this, and Lucas has told me not to say, and when I give my word matters, and I have not said, so.
Motive on that side will come out, right?
Yes, well aware. So
motive on this side, I'm owed a lot of money, salary-wise. And with the way I was terminated, because I wasn't given any due process, it's up to me to fight against it. No one wanted to ask me the truth because it was all rectifiable, right? Right. Possible slap on the wrist, but there was no crime until it wasn't reconciled. Right now, if you get to a point, you go reconcile and go, oh, I got no money, or right, oh no, there's plenty of money. That's why we didn't talk to Lucas about it. That's why we didn't reconcile. That's why we didn't give him a chance. That's why it was a blindside hit, right? Oh, this was enough to get out of a lot of fucking money, a lot of money that was due to Lucas Mirtl, and hey, take it. This guy can run it. We can take his book. We go for it, right? Oh, that sounds like an accusation against them.
But Mert,
no, it's not an accusation. That is the straight metric and math of the situation. If I am eliminated or terminated from my agreement, the athlete's book of business stays with Wasserman, and it's up to me to now go, hey, that was wrongful termination, right? But what better than to set up a case against someone if the court of public opinion has already turned on them in the worst way, with the biggest names in the sport, call him a thief online.
Yeah, I mean they did it.
It stacks it against me to get any wrongful termination. But just maybe, right? They overplayed their hand.
All right, Lucas. The other big thing that people are talking about is it seems weird that an account, which you've clarified, it sounds like that it's Wasserman's account, not the Lawrence's account, paid for a motorhome. And if it was the Lawrence's account, it would be seen really strange that it paid for something for some riders.
Yeah. Forget about that. This is P&L Wasserman. It's nothing to do with the Lawrences, right? I've got to clarify. This is nothing to do. This is not me logging into their online banking and transferring money to Lucas Mirtl or to other people. Like I've kind of touched on briefly, I have money out. We are investing in different stuff left and right. If we do contracts with athletes, we essentially guarantee them, right? So if you've got $1 million contract, right, and it's papered and it's signed and it's executed, I have the ability to front a large sum of that to you as a big agency. We all do it at the level I'm at. Again, if you're a smaller agent, like most of probably names other people are familiar with, they don't, because those contracts or their athletes, the revenue stream, the money flow they have is not enough to cover, to balance a sheet, right? If one thing doesn't happen, they're down, right? Bad. Like it would take 10 things to happen for me to ever be down, right? With the revenue flow and the deal flow I have, right? So in saying that, I have the ability, and it's a situation that was named, and it was unfairly named, was the Coonans yesterday, right? Like the Lawrences bought their motorhome. No, again, back to the thing. This is not Lawrence's money. This is Lucas Mirtl's prerogative. He has to balance the sheet, right? Everyone, the main people, knew about the situation in Wasserman, right? That we needed to make a down payment. Really, all of a sudden, right? And I'm in and out of dealing with my stuff, half working, whatnot. there is a process to front money, right? There is a process that was sort of in place. It wasn't protocol. Let's just say that it's a very loose process, but right then a lot of times in these situations, oh, they need that money. Well, you can send it from that, right? Can I send it from this? It's Wasserman's money. Yes, it was well aware, and again, it was labeled. It was on the warning label. I'd like to say it was well aware.
And
right?
in your mind, because it's there and it will get reconciliated, you didn't care. You were like, whatever. I got it done because I'm running 100 different directions. Is that right?
Exactly. And all that stuff there's a lot of payments made through because just do it, right? There was payments made for the Lawrence's sake out of the thing, but they left out, right? I did a lot of stuff to help them out, right? But it was also to be reconciled. And if you froze an NFL agent or if you froze anyone, even if someone owned a contracting business, right? You froze your right there and then, and say and someone didn't want the backstory or anything, and you didn't have the approval or whatnot, or it was all phone calls, they're going to say you misappropriated, right? So if anything kind of gets frozen, right, and as loose as the sports agents, and as mine was all to Wasserman clients, to myself, again, no theft. It was all labeled. It was all accounted for. It was, the accounts were monitored. The password to the account was readily available, right? It wasn't changed. Helping the business and moving the money around was fine. My stuff was all, again, to athletes. There's other sports, they wouldn't really want to see what they're having to move around, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like mine was all, Disney Channel, right? Other sports, what they're paying off and moving around, that's more nighttime viewing, right? And again, the allegations is unheralded, right? And
and I will say,
all up front.
I was a limo driver in college, and I had a couple agents that hired me, and they were taking guys out. And yeah, those were not exactly Disney expenses that they were fronting for those kids to get them on board. I get how it is, and I understand it, but sounds to me like the biggest issue here is, correct me if I'm wrong, is there a process besides the account you use to get money, and is it more difficult? Is it like just more paper trail? Like, what's the difference between getting?
It goes through 6 or 7 different people. Usually, I've paid it out of my own personal. There's a history. I'll just, right? And if something needs to be done, you do it right away. And I've lost a lot of money that way as well, right? But the lack of protocol on literally everything around this situation, right, it is a big mess, right? Right? There wasn't a standardized thing. It is run so loose by the people above me at the agency. It was run, but I trust it, right? And like at any moment, anyone could kind of hit the brakes on you and go, oh, you didn't do this right. And it feels like if they want you, they're going to get you, right? Like I think Warren Buffett said, if you follow a guy for 5 miles, he'll find a way to pull you over, right? No matter who it is. And it felt very much that way. And I want it to be known and on the record. I'm not doing this with you. I'll talk to anyone on this situation. I'm doing this because my legacy, my life's work, my value I put in myself was in this job, right? Last Thursday night, I got deep into some questions on my own worth, my own ability to be a father, to be just a person of society after everything that I value got stripped and taken from me, right? And no man deserves to be in that spot. I have a newfound respect and understanding to what some people go through and decisions they could take or did take, right? Friends of mine that I hate that I wasn't there in that moment. Like I had some key people here, right? And through this, like a lot of people, oh, shut your mouth. I've lost a lot of people. At Anaheim, I had 100 or so guest list tickets of guests. A lot of those guest lists haven't reached out to me, right? There's a massive fucking loss. I'm not doing well, in case anyone was wondering, right? I'm rebuilding my book of business, right? I'm slowly signing athletes back. I expect to get a large majority of them back, or they'll go to another, or at some time they'll get them back. The true fucking hurt is what happens to the people who love me, who are continually reading this, right? The people have believed in me, and the people still fighting for me, right? And there's a lot of people on that Thursday that I didn't know liked me, right? In the lowest point of like humanity, like that I thought of betrayal and just downright greed and this of people that I've done so much for. I then luckily was shown the good side of humanity on the support. When those turned their back, I saw 300 or 400 people turn in front of me and support me. And I'll be honest, it was, some people don't get that in that moment, right? And it was strong. It was, and it still is the worst thing I'll ever go through. There's still going to be people, 30 years from now, that are going to call me a fucking thief. I can never get that back, right? And I'll never fucking forgive. I would never do this to someone. I think anyone who knows me knows I love that sport of business. I compete in business the same way. Anyone who competes at any level, you should hate your competition, right? That's the engagement level I engage at business. But I can also have a cocktail at the end of the day and celebrate how we compete in that business. Never would I take a shot which would affect someone's ability to come back and play next week or compete in the business. There's not a dollar in this fucking world, right, that's worth hurting someone, their family, their children, or their ability to put food on their table, right? This shot was taken at me to limit all those things. Maverick is dependent on me. I have sole custody. If something's to happen to me, he goes to become in custody of the state. This was fucking known and still done to me by people I've made. You called me family, called me their best friend, called me fourth brother, people I'd speak to 10, 20 times a week, right? People I've taken from here to now, they think they're walking around in my shoes, right? And stripped everything from me, knowing what was at stake here, and not even giving me due process. This was taken, even if it was taken in the correct protocol, it was still taken. But let's just add, let's take this out on him in public. Let's blindside him in public, right? Okay. I explained as well as I could the situation. I apologize if it's all over the place, right? I'm still in the infant stages of it, but I believe Maverick deserves his dad to at least get out there and discuss from his heart, from the seat of the pants inside the situation, fresh in the situation. It's the day after I received that yesterday. That's where the truth is. That's the true emotion. I got to go to court. We might not even go to court. They might not even show up to court. This may all get settled and thrown out, right? Or we go to court and we get really messy, right? And we fight it. But the truth is in this moment, right? Who you were. You go to court, it's all polished. They'll be very rehearsed, or right, like you see the court filing. Supposedly, we're assuming it's a court filing. Still no knock on the door, right? Go in there, go and talk, go and be real, be honest, right? Because that's how I got this far in this industry, and that's the person everyone knows. That's why athletes will stay with me, right? I may be wrong for saying how I said it. It could be used to fuck against me, Chris, right? On it, my lawyer attorneys may go, "You're an idiot. You've married yourself to this." Well, I'd be an idiot not to tell my fucking truth, right? And with the amount of interest and the amount of people talking about this thing, right? How in this planet would I not talk to anyone? You've reached out to me, you've talked to me, and a lot of people haven't. If anyone else wants to discuss this, if I have the time, which I would discuss it, but I want it known, right? Like, I'm not shying the fuck away from this, and what has happened here will be answered for on my side, and it sure will be answered on their side. And the defamation and the destructive damage that it will never be able to be fixed. All I can live in is moving forward, knowing who I am and what I stand for. And hopefully we stop this fucking cancel culture, or whatever this is going on, where an allegation leads on a website and then court filings. Right, last week I was getting investigated by the FBI, right? When you write that stuff, it's targeted. It's not by mistake. Now we're at a lawsuit. Next week, what am I going to be, the greatest criminal mastermind with the greatest cover-up skills that's ever existed? Right? What's the narrative? And which media outlet think I stand against what's fucking happening in this world, in this cancel culture, and this woke bullshit that's happening? And everyone stands on their platform saying, "Oh, I'm this, I'm that." Go look at your actions. Everyone's a Republican and a capitalist until it comes down where something doesn't go their way, right? Then it all should be shared, and everyone should be equal, and that's not fair. How I've copped it my entire career about an agent. He's making all this money. No, I've worked for all this fucking money, right? And I'm the only one walking around this pit who isn't on a salary. I'm the only one here employing 3-4 other people off money that I make more for athletes. I don't get a retainer. Everyone else here is on a salary. Everyone else is an expense. Your agent is an expense. Your agent brings the money, right? And yet we're all quick to fucking hate an agent. We're all for rider rights, right? Well, there was one person fighting for rider rights, and it was fucking me, right? But I would see in the media, fucking agents, right? Well, which one were we, right? Do you want me to be broke? Why can't I post the cars we drive? Why are we ashamed of success? Why are we in this woke bullshit cancel culture crap to bring someone like me down, right? And it's constant, right? What Jet, who out of this situation has been smashed to a degree. Yeah, it'll turn around, but we got to grow out of it, and I want it on record. That's how the fuck I think, and that's why, if I'm wrong on anything, please tell me. Right, and I will own every one of my mistakes, and in the future, in the past, to possibly even today. But what I will maintain throughout this thing is my fucking innocence to the allegations, my robbery of due process to defend myself or explain a situation that was very, very normal and rectifiable, to fight against the false narrative that this situation has been broadcasted publicly. I'll also fight the integrity of people not researching and still going ahead on this hit piece. And I'll fight against, like, I will fight against the ability this happens to someone else, right? And till my last dying breath, honestly, Chris, I will fight for what Maverick thinks of me, right? Sorry about the rant, but I'm just fucking like pissed, right? It's not right. It's never been right. It smells like shit because it is shit. Go look at the fucking facts here. Still haven't been served this bullshit. I'm pissed, right? Right? And if you don't understand that emotion on this thing, God dang it. I hope no one ever is in this situation, right? Most people can't handle a lawsuit that no one cares about. How about handle the whole world talking about it and getting blindsided in the public's eye? It's wrong. It's wrong from my former agency side. It's wrong from the other side. Handle it with respect and like gentlemen and do, and it hasn't. Go look at, comments people write. How is no one pointing a finger going, oh yeah, this seems pretty cool. Cool. Yeah, if that happened to me, I'd be stoked. Remember, we're living in a world where it's unproven. God forbid what they do to the next guy if someone doesn't stand up and call it out, right? We're going to say, go to a deeper depravity level of canceling someone? Because where I'm at, there's another level they can go, right? With unfounded accusations. This all needs to stop, right? It all needs to stop, and it starts with my honesty and truth and getting in front of it in the middle of it, in the middle of this crisis. But I'm not here. If I didn't wake up tomorrow morning, I'd be so fucking thankful I did this today, because it wouldn't be fair to me that I didn't do that. So if this was to hurt my case, or you made a mistake, or you're going to get held to something, or an inconsistency, which is always the risk, right? Then so fucking be it. So fucking be it. If my case hinged on an inconsistency, it hinges on my defense all around the facts and the evidence, right? It's not what you say, it's what you did, right? In this case, right? And that's any case. So, but that's my fucking rant from how I feel. So.
Mertz, I'm going to fucking probably watch that 100 times. That was one of the most inspiring speeches I've seen in a long time. I love that you're fighting for yourself. Hey, one stupid question. I don't want to take off because I'm like fucking, like, I love what you just said about woke. I love what you just said about people. They'll cancel, but when then they do it, they're like, but yes, they're really quick. And listen, I know this very well. And you talk about the FBI. They sent the FBI to my house, Mirtl. And you don't think that freaked me out a little bit? But yeah, I'm well aware of, mine is not your situation. Yours is 100 times worse, because your job depends on your integrity. Your clients depend on your integrity, and they have attacked it without even giving you so much as a chance to speak on it. And that's just wrong. Now, even if you were guilty, I don't think they should attack you the way they have until at least giving you an opportunity. Like, I don't, it seemed shitty from the moment I saw it. And it's not because we're best friends, because at certain times, like I said, I think you've wanted to strangle me, and no, you don't feed me all my information. But I feel like right is right. And I don't think what's happening here is right. Now, there was a couple things I still wanted to question about. Like, so in the statement or whatever.
I have to get Mav down here shortly.
Okay. What about, they said you had some merchandise that or some not merchandise, but memorabilia that they wanted back? Have they sent a request? Have you got a request to get that back?
No idea. Like, I have stuff here that's been given to me over the years, but no idea. Like, I saw something, I still don't have that full copy of.
Yeah.
Oh, the first initial letter that was emailed me on the day of, there's something about that. But guys, let's get through the major part before we're worried about fucking that shit. Like that.
Yeah.
God.
And
like, I mean, do you want what you've given me back?
apparently they
Is
might.
this where we're at?
Apparently they might. It's like a bad breakup, Mertz.
Doing what I just talked about, and then saying, I gave you, I want your Christmas present back.
You're not wrong.
Make it make sense, right?
Yes,
like,
it does.
This destroyed my life publicly, and I want those gifts back.
Spot on. And
Did I get your Valentine's Day gift? That like I want that back. I want my name back, guys. How about that?
You're gonna get it back, Mertz. You're gonna get it back because the truth always wins in the end, and that's why I told you, like, just tell the fucking truth. And I think this thing can go away, and the truth beats out this bullshit. It always does. It might not in the beginning, and it might be a battle, but you're gonna win this thing if you got truth is on your side. You got this, dude. So the other couple things that people have been asking me is, with all your athletes, have any other contracts or any other accounts been ever questioned?
No, never.
And this is the only one that they're questioning.
Absolutely.
That tells everybody.
I've been ripped off more. Me as an agent. Oh, I've got money out there still in the hundreds, thousands of dollars, right? That I've lent athletes that we just don't talk about. And I'm always like,
All right, Mertz. Well, dude, I thank you so much for coming on. I can't imagine what you've been through. Nobody can. That to have their life ripped from them. You can talk about it, you can pretend, but until it happens, I can't imagine what you're going through. I'm so glad you're here. You're on the right side of this. And anything else you want to share with people?
no, thanks for having me.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what.
Just be good to people. Be good to each other, right? Leave things better than what you found it, right? Like, again, not that I'm this fucking all-seeing eye and philosopher or anything, but like in this moment, I did see the good. I'm coming back. I'm not coming back to be bigger than, no, this is where I was effective in this world. I found my spot where I helped people, made it better, right? I think life's about, I love the word effective. This is just where I was effective, right? Not better than anyone else. I was just effective here for whatever reason. And it made me happy, right? Find that and just be nicer to people, right? Like, we don't need to be at each other's throats, and be proud of your buddy who hits success. Pick up your buddy that fails, right? Help someone. If your neighbor gets a promotion at work, be happy for that. Don't live in this world. Be happy with what you got, right? 'Cause trust me, it can go away tomorrow, either from health or this work culture, cancel shit. Like, be very careful. No one in a million years thought, including myself, I would be having this conversation. It changes. Cherish it, but like, don't take it for granted. But appreciate it. I do.